Welcome to ResponseABLE Parenting, the podcast that shows you how to parent in alignment to your emotions, needs, and goals versus your programming, bad advice, and let's face it, outdated strategies that just don't work. You'll get in the trenches support on nervous system and emotional regulation, critical mindset shifts, stronger communication strategies, and more. In this podcast, you'll gain transformational tools that take you from reacting to every frustration to responding with clarity, regulation, and finally setting the example you desire for your kids. I'm Becky Jennings, your new parenting coach, and this is the ResponseABLE Parenting podcast. Let's get into it. Well, this one is gonna be fun. Dun, dun, dun. I want to talk today. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, I am not doing well. And I was supposed to be starting podcast filming several hours ago. And I had all these topics that I was like, I can't wait to share about and talk about. And then all the external influence, quite literally, possibly, jumped into my lap and they said, let me test every bit of resolve and regulation that you have and see if you can continue to show up the way you intended to show up. Ooh, if this isn't like the exact definition of what I am trying to teach, to embody as a parent coach, I honestly don't know a better example. So let's paint the glorious picture of it all. So yesterday, 2 days ago, I got a notification inside my business Facebook notifications, and it said that your account is being scheduled to be deleted. And I'm like, what? That's not good news. So I didn't actually do anything Wednesday night. I was like, you can take a deep breath, Becky. You can take a deep breath and you can handle this because even if your account is deleted, you can rebuild. There is nothing stopping you from rebuilding, right? I'm pumping myself up. Yep. So then Thursday, I remember, oh yeah, your account's about to be deleted. Why don't you don't ever click on an email because we know those are wrong and those are phishing scams. Don't click on an email. And also no email was received. So, should have been my first red flag. But instead I say, go into your business meta suite, go into your business manager, check your notifications there and see if the alert is still there. Well, what do you know? It is. It's sitting in my business messages. Now I should have seen a red flag with the video associated with how to appeal your account being deleted. There was this beautiful video that taught you exactly what to do, but it wasn't proper English and it wasn't spoken. Oh, I should have just known. Anyways, but guess what? Fear says fix it now, right? Fear says fix it. Fear says fix it. So I basically, it says on the thing, it says, you can't do this on your phone. You must do it on a desktop. And I'm like, that's weird. But again, fear, fix it. So I go through and I follow every single step. Pause video, go over, do what they ask, start video. Okay, next step, do that for the whole thing. And then it says, don't log out until you receive an email from Facebook. So I'm like, that's weird. So I don't get an email from Facebook because newsflash wasn't Facebook. Oh, but guess what? So then I film me doing it on a Loom video and send it to my mentor and say, am I doing this wrong or am I doing this right to appeal my account being deleted? So I do it twice. I sure do. I do it twice. Meanwhile, I'm not hearing anything back. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the right spot. Then I get 2 very weird emails saying these really unpronounceable names and combinations of letters have joined my business. And I'm like, that's odd. So I go and I check to see if these interesting names are following, but no, they are not in fact following. So then I go back deep into my business suite and I see all sorts of different accounts that are now linked and have full access and full permission to do whatever they want. Okay. So that's where we find ourselves last night, about an hour and a half before pickup. Thankfully, my kids are in an after school program. And so I was able to just leave them in the after school program until I got pretty much everything deleted that I thought, and disconnected and unlinked and renewed passwords and new authentications and yada yada, the whole bang boom. So I thought I was done. And then this morning, so that took 3 hours. Then this morning, I get another notification that says in WhatsApp that says, we have locked your account because we see suspicious activity going on. Now, meanwhile, I go into my business account. There's nobody linked. There's nobody connected. There's nothing going on. So I get to the Googs and I start asking questions. And apparently, I gave them a skeleton key, which can live there, just live there. And it just can be in my account. Okay. Now, I followed the other steps that Google told me to take that would hopefully mitigate any further challenges. But the caveat is, every single time that I followed the thing or asked if I took all these steps, would it allow this person to be gone? And every single time it said maybe, maybe. There was no guarantee. It was said, you did all the steps you could, and they will likely be removed. Okay. Now, that's a big external stress, right? My entire business, my entire income, everything, all my coaching, every client is all here, not your information. Don't worry. None of that information. We are in a totally different world, but my communication is here. You are on Instagram. Like, you are my people. That's where I talk to you. That's where I get to know you. That's where I share my information. Like, Instagram is my part, my very critical part of my business. So talk about a little bit of just a hair bit of external stress. Okay. So we got that going on. As that was happening last night, my son, who gets the Crunch Lab boxes from Mark Rober, he was doing a really, really hard one. I'm going to actually show you if you're watching on YouTube, this is what he was trying to create. Okay. So what this is, I don't even know. Apparently, it's a laser synthesizer. So he's building the laser synthesizer as I'm trying to make sure no accounts are linked. Like, let's make sure my Gmail isn't even linked to this. Like, let's just go down this rabbit hole of the whatever I was experiencing. People are asking me for snacks. He starts crying because the hack pack isn't working to the level. He starts getting really angry that he can't figure it out. My other one starts bouncing a ball. Like, you're a 6-year-old little kid. Of course you're going to bounce a ball. And all of these things. And mind you, I have a class that I'm supposed to be attending in an hour. My husband's not home yet. Dinner is not done. It's sort of prepped, not done. But all these little things are starting to add to my dysregulation. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know when it's just like everything seems to be going wrong? It's like Murphy's Law. You're like, oh, okay, so today's the day everything implodes. Good to know. And I'm like, I would say I skew high on the woo-woo spectrum. Like I'm into it. Like I've read a lot about this fire horse here. I have read a lot about how it's going to affect me and my sign. And I've followed some like, do these prompts, like open your life up to the abundance that is coming, like clear and shed and old identities and stepping into your authenticity. Like I'm there, right? I'm in it to win it. I have had the last 7 years have been just like uh, a kick to the crotch in so many ways. Just, I mean, the list abounds. And so I'm like, yes, February 17th was 3 days ago. I'm like, the fire horse is here. Let's go. And and then it was like, there's gonna be a couple few tests that you're gonna really have to get through that are just gonna be begging you to like fall back into your default patterns. And it's how you show up and how you present yourself. That's gonna be like whether or not your true abundance arrives, right? So as I'm thinking about this, as I'm tracking my triggers and writing down my triggers of like what is triggering me, what is this trigger, where is it presenting itself? Okay, so my chest is on fire, my teeth are clenching, I'm starting to get a headache. Okay, those are all physiological signs that I am being triggered and activated. I had to move from my office. If you're watching this, I'm in a totally different space because of the fact that the internet does not work anymore in my office after the last 2 rainstorms. Again, let's just keep getting tested. So what you just heard was the ice machine turn on, and this ice machine is easily from the early 2000s, so it is quite loud. When we moved in, we were like, "Why would we ever want an ice machine?" And we use that thing endlessly. I digress. So, year of the fire horse, ready to step into a more authentic space, ready to tackle the tests in my true authentic form to welcome in the abundance. And I'm just like, universe, I swear to God, what are you doing? So I'm registering. I'm walking myself through my 4-step process. I'm registering the trigger. I'm noticing that there's about 7 triggers that I'm experiencing in this moment. I have the external trigger of whatever the hell is happening inside Meta Business Suite and all the technology that I just don't quite understand. I have fear that is being triggered, that everything that I have built, because literally 4 days earlier, a woman in the mastermind that I'm in is like, all of my shit just got deleted and I have to start from scratch. And I was like, oh God, that would be awful. Dun, dun, dun. Here we are, just presenting this opportunity for me as well. So I have a lot of fear swirling. I have my son melting down over a very complex engineering issue that I honestly could not help him to save my life, because if you saw the wires and the cables and the things, I don't know. I don't know what that is, and I certainly don't know what a laser synthesizer is and the point of it, but it looks cool and he's having fun. And then my youngest is just bouncing a ball on repeat right next to me, and I see the clock, which is a big trigger for me, the clock ticking down, and I'm watching it tick down, and I'm knowing how much needs to get done before I can leave to go take this really necessary class that I need to take. By the way, it's a self-defense class, and I get to punch things and hit things. And I think this has been the missing link to like my sanity. So there's high priority on this. So I've registered the triggers. And then I'm rooting down into the story. What is the storyline that is making this so much more intense? Like, what is going on and why is this affecting me the way that it's affecting me? And I'm like, oh, because Becky, you've always been a creator. You've always been an entrepreneur. You've always put your heart out there. You've always done this, and it's never effing worked. And so you have been let down and programmed to believe that you are not chosen. You are never chosen. It is not you. You are not supposed to succeed. And all of this is for naught. Your account's going to go away. Your body and your brain is going to go, see, I told you so. Why even try this hard when everything is going to go away anyways? And you will never be successful. You will never have the reach and the impact that you want to have. And you will never help people. And you will just continue to do this thing where you believe in yourself so much, and then it all comes crashing down. So I was like, okay, Becky, that's quite the storyline to hold on to. Got it. And I'm doing this in my head as my son's bouncing the ball right next to me, and as I'm trying to help my other son co-regulate. Guys, I am telling you, this parenting stuff is not easy, but when you have the tools, you can go from drowning, you can go from suffocating to being like, okay, I can take this one step, 1 degree in this direction, and I can relieve 1% of the dysregulation in my body. Okay, 1% down. Let's take it again. Let's wash, rinse, repeat what you just did, which is a regulation tool. Wash, rinse, repeat the regulation until you're like able to speak. It's kind of like my thing now is I'm like, no, no, no. Let's root that sensation down to the story. What's the story? And why is that story being brought up right now? Why is your nervous system protecting you from this sensation and this story? Because your nervous system never wants you to feel the pain it has already felt. So that was abundantly clear. And then you regulate, my friend. We regulate. And, deep breaths aren't always the thing. They can't always be the effective thing. I started with breath, and then I actually have this visualization that really helps me. Stan Tatkin wrote this book called Wired for Love, and it's all about attachment theory, but for couples and relationships. I find it to be fascinating. And he talks about the primitives and the ambassadors. And essentially, the primitives are our emotion center. That's the amygdala, right? That is where we are those primitive emotions, fear, anger, sadness, disgust, all of those really special ones that are driving the ship a lot of the time. Those get activated. And I like to visualize these primitives as the players of the movie Braveheart, right? The people who are, they have the blue stripes painted across their face. They have, fur vests over their makeshift armor. They have these just the most ridiculous type of weapons, and they're running towards my problems. Just like not even caring if they get decimated, not even paying attention to the arrows flying their way, like nothing. And they're just blindly running to this scene to protect me. And so I visualize whenever these sensations arise in my body, I visualize these Braveheart primitives just taking full action. And my job as a full functioning rational human being who does not want to rupture additional relationships and who also doesn't want to fall down default belief systems, does not want to fall down the default reactive pathways. My job is to basically put a barrier between those primitives and the next words coming out of my mouth. That would be the sacred pause. The sacred pause where I'm like, okay, primitives, loud and clear, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. And thank you so much for protecting me. And I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to do what I need to do in order to allow the ambassadors, which is what Stan Tatkin calls the prefrontal cortex, where logic, reasoning, effective communication, all of that really juicy, good problem-solving stuff lives. I'm going to wait for those to click online. I'm going to hold out until those click online, and I will not talk until they are there. Now, this has taken a little bit of time and effort and a lot of practice to get to this space where this is my default pattern. But my point in saying that is the process I went through. I went through literally the exact process I take my clients through. I went through it myself last night. And so I looked over at my son and I said, who was bouncing the ball right next to me, and I said, "Whew, I'm really angry." And he's bouncing the ball and he's like, "Yeah, about what?" And I'm like, "My computer. I'm feeling really angry." And he goes, "Are you feeling angry and you want to punch it?" I'm like, "I do want to punch my computer. However, that would cause a whole new set of problems." And so humor helped a little bit, but I got up, I left the room, I went and got a glass of cold water, and I sat in the kitchen for a second and I just kind of let it wash over me. I'm in this phase of life that is like, you can't control what you can't control. You can do everything you can in your power to the best of your ability, but life is going to life, and we need to stay in the pocket of understanding that life is going to happen around us. It's not shaking our internal system to the level of going so low, meeting the external chaos in the depths, right? We can then notice the external chaos and not absorb it. Notice, not absorb. Notice, regulate. Notice, take any action I can do to support myself, to alleviate the pain. But what is not going to help is me dumping my own dysregulation into the mix and then allowing that to all kind of stew together and create this next round of just like, good Lord, who knows what we need to clean up next. Can I be super real with you and tell you a personal story? A few years back, my son, the whole reason why I do the job I do today, was having one of those fiery moments. He was talking back, demanding it be his way. He was refusing to listen to any of our solutions, and the moment was getting really intense. My husband looked at me and said, "Well, you know all the parenting stuff, fix this." I completely froze. All the scripts from the books I'd read, all the strategies from the podcasts I'd listened to completely disappeared from my brain in that moment. But based on the volume of challenges that we were having with our strong-willed ADHD son, I knew I had to figure out a different way, because panicking in the moment and grasping at anything only to not follow through at all and end up yelling just wasn't working. From this experience, I developed a repeatable, easy to remember, and easy to follow system that literally works with every single triggering moment. I can attest to it because there are many in my life. Now I can show up the way I want. I can communicate in a way that actually resonates with my strong-willed child. If this sounds like a solution for what's happening in your home, take these next 2 steps. Number 1, watch the free training about my rewiring process in the show notes. And then number 2, book your free call. On that call, we will talk about what's happening in your home, and you will get a customized solution that works best for you. I assure you, this doesn't have to feel as hard day in and day out as it does. There is the solution, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it. So that was a very real life test, right? And then the test kept coming. Today, I've spent 3 hours that I wanted to dedicate to podcasting, dedicate to creating really special content that has been inspired for you. And I didn't get to do that. And that was really frustrating, really frustrating. And I know that I'm going to be coming into uh, um, probably some fiery situations with my kids after school, because when are they not? And I know it could really affect me. So before I even go to pick up today, I'm going to be doing the 4-step process. I'm going to register what I'm feeling in my body. I'm going to root it down and be like, what is this sensation leading me to? And what is the story there that's amplifying this whole thing to make it so much more fear-based, so much more intolerable? What is that storyline? And then analyzing that story. Is that still true? Is that still who I am today? Is that even do I even identify with that story anymore? Or can I say, thanks so much for the protection that you helped me way back in the day, but I release you. I don't really need you anymore. And then regulate the shit out of that moment, right? Like we're doing everything we can to regulate. And then we get to choose. We get to choose how we respond from that place. We are so set up for failure as parents, as mothers in this current society. We are set up to fail. Honestly, like there are so many more barriers to success than there are just like this wide open way for us to just be authentically mothers and be supported and do well at it. It's profound, honestly. And so we're already starting at a deficit. And when we let that deficit continue to determine the way in which we show up, the way in which we respond, when we allow all of the external to encroach and live in our internal, then it makes all the sense in the world that we feel claustrophobic. It makes all the sense in the world that we are 0 to 100 and reacting at the smallest things. It makes all the sense in the world that we react before we think because our primitives are sitting there armed and ready because they're like, girl, you are under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, and you are baseline not feeling great. Am I right? So I'm always going to be looking to protect you. And it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The protection is going to not just be like, oh, your whole entire business could come crashing down. Yes, that is a reasonable and rational reason to feel afraid and to take action. But your child bouncing a ball, not. However, your nervous system is going to put them on the same level when you are baseline dysregulated. But your nervous system is going to put them at the same level when you are baseline dysregulated. So, with that, I want to share that, first of all, you're not alone. You're not alone in this. And even as a parenting coach who runs this play every single day and teaches this with their clients every single minute of the day, I am working with clients on this. I'm still triggered. I'm still triggered. I'm a woman in America who's just losing her mind. And so I share that to just give you a little bit more context as well. And I think one of the key things that has helped me a lot is speaking out loud uh, to myself about what is real and what is not. When I register the sensations and I am getting into the story aspect, when I'm getting to the rooting down process, and I say out loud why I'm triggered, it it does this beautiful thing of taking the power out of the trigger because I get to in real time say it. Whenever you say it out loud, they call it name it to tame it. Whenever you name something, it immediately takes a little bit more of the power out of it. So as I'm narrating, like I'm triggered because, right? And I say what I'm triggered about, then I get that beautiful invitation and that opportunity to say, is that true? Is that real? Or am I just moving down my automatic negative default pattern thought process that has just been really perfected? So let me give my brain a second option. Let me do like this is what we do in cognitive behavioral therapy. We look at the data and then we say, but is that true? Is that real? Or is that something that is coming from fear? Is that a story? Is that a judgment? Is that a perception? There's so many things that feel true, but aren't true. There's a phrase that says perception is reality. So we truly get to shape our reality by going through this 4-step process where we register, where we root down into the story. And this is where it gets so beautiful, because we then get to shift the narrative about that story, and we get to then create the reality that we want to see. And we do that. The very 2 next steps is regulate. Give your body what it is asking for. Tell your body, thank you, but honestly, you're safe. This is not something to send the primitives to. You're safe. And then from there, we get that beautiful thing called choice, where we get to choose the words that are coming out of our mouth next. We get to choose how we handle that trigger. And if this is resonating with you and you're like, dang, that I'm nowhere near that, or I'm trying that, or I'm doing that, but I'd still like some guidance, do me a favor, book a call with me. My calendar link is in the show notes. You can jump on that call and we will get to go through all of this. Talk about your triggers, talk about the default patterns, talk about what your goals are, talk about what your self-perception is, and see if what I do as a coach every single day with the clients that I'm working with could also start to transform your life. I'm working with somebody right now, and every call she shows up to, which is just brilliant. We've been working together for like 2.5 weeks. And she's like, that's life-changing. That was life-changing. That experience was life-changing. And, it's amazing because these things, we are just not aware. We are rushing and we are in the thick of it, and we are being tested ad nauseum by the external. And so it's really hard to see another possibility. And that's my job. That's my job for you, is to show you the possibilities. That is my job for you, is to show you what's possible and to give you the tools and the pathway and the steps to achieve what's possible. Not just this pie in the sky, like this is possible for other people. No. This is possible for you, because I am you, right? I'm sitting in this chair triggered as hell about this business thing, and I'm still stepping into the authentic person that I want to be, saying, yes, I am triggered. Yes, I understand the root story of why. And as a result of knowing those 2 things and being able to regulate my body, I can step into a position of authority and power where I get to control how I respond to it, which means I get to control the reality around it. Dang, that is powerful. And then watch how that transforms the relationship that you have with your children. Watch how that transforms the way you show up when they do the same repetitive behavior that is annoying you and is causing you so many sleepless nights, where you're sitting there staring at the ceiling saying, oh my God, if they're still acting like this in 5 years, what if? What then? But knowing that you have the power to control that reality, and that you have all the tools that you need to be able to reshape that visual, that is so empowering. It's so empowering and it's so possible. So I invite you to book that call with me, because it's really important work. It's really important work, not just for your soul, for your health, for your happiness, for your relationships, but for where we are in the state of the world. And what's coming down the pipeline, nobody really knows, but it ain't looking good for the team. So, for instance, if the SAVE Act passes, then several of us lose our opportunity to vote, or it becomes very challenging to vote. So there's going to be more and more. This is the time we need to armor up in a way that we are unshakable in our beliefs of self. We are unshakable in the way that we respond to triggers. So if that resonates with you, book a call with me. Let's talk. Let's hop on the phone, and we'll see where this leads. Thank you for being here for another week, letting me work through that process in real time. And I will see you all next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe.
If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.